السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Send them upstairs. Or the outside.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وأحسن الهدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers, before we begin the topic of the khutbah today, I just want to advise everyone that the masjid is extremely busy. Yesterday, we had people praying outside, almost onto the street. So we would kindly ask for everyone to listen to the brothers wearing the high-vis jacket, direct you to a place if they tell you to move, so you have to listen to everyone, so everyone will find a space to come to listen to the khutbah and to pray. We begin with the praise of Allah Azza wa Jalla. We praise Him, we seek His help, and we ask His forgiveness. Whoever Allah guides, no one can misguide him. Whoever Allah misguides, no one can guide him. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah alone and with no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the slave of Allah and His messenger. We ask Allah to accept His mention and grant Him peace, to His family and His companions, and also follow them day. My dear brothers, in this khutbah, I want us to reflect upon the end of Ramadan. As Ramadan comes to a close, there only remains a few nights and a few days as permission. And the first thing that I want to think about is narrated by Sahl ibn Sa'd al-Sa'idi. And the hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari and elsewhere. Hadith has a profound effect upon a person if they think about the end of what you do. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, إن العبد ليعمل فيما يبدو للناس بعمل أهل الجنة من أهل النار وإن ليعمل فيما بين الناس أو قال فيما يبدو للناس بعمل أهل وإنما الأعمال بالخواتيم. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith of Sahl ibn Sa'd al-Sa'idi radiyallahu anhu, he said, indeed, a person would do the actions of the people of Jannah in what it seems to the people. And in reality, this person is from the people of the fire. And a person would do the actions of the people of the fire in what appears to the people. And that person is from the people of Jannah. What matters, or he said, the only thing that matters, how you end something. The only thing, innamal a'mal, the only action which matters is how you end. My dear brothers, if we look at this hadith in the light of the month of Ramadan, perhaps someone would fast every single day and pray every single night. And perhaps the end of their Ramadan, they would leave those things. And that person might not be accepted from them the things that they did. And perhaps a person sitting in this room was negligent, muqassir, as it relates to Ramadan, in their fasting and in their prayer. And they start coming now, and they start giving attention, and perhaps Allah would accept it from them. In a'malu bil-khawatim, that is how you end something. My dear brother, I have been very pleased to see the masjid busy. And as much as it pains me to see people praying outside, in one way I'm happy to see people praying outside. I love to see that we come for the Taraweeh and the Qiyam and the masjid is full. But yesterday I saw people started to drop off. It started to be very small numbers again. My dear brothers, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. What matters is not the 27th night. What matters is the end of what you do. So don't be from those people who give attention on the 25th and the 27th, but on the 29th, they're not to be seen. And perhaps even the 30th, they're not to be seen. So my dear brothers, I want to encourage all of us, make the end of this month of Ramadan the best. Make the end better than the start, better than the early part of the last 10 days. Make the best of this month the end of it. Be someone who finished Ramadan in the best way. Until the mu'adhin gives the adhan of Maghrib on the night before Eid, still we are in Ramadan. Until the mu'adhin gives the adhan of Maghrib on the night before the day of Eid, still we are in Ramadan. To have a dua that is accepted. Still you have a chance to have your rewards multiplied. Still you're in the best 10 nights. And from the most virtuous day of the year. So with all of this in mind, don't be someone who is only planning to worship Allah tonight, and then after that you're not planning anything. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ. My dear brothers, it's about Ramadan. It's also about what you do after Ramadan. A person may ask the question, how do I know that my Ramadan was accepted? How can I know that Allah accepted my siyam and my siyam? How do I know this? We know that the Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ صَامَ رَمَضَانَ إِيمَانًا وَاحْتِسَابًا غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ. And he said similar about the Qiyam and similar about Laylatul Qadr. Whoever fasts the month of Ramadan with Iman and expecting reward from Allah, their previous sins will be forgiven. How do I know if I'm from those people? The answer, my dear brother, is you don't know. It's in the hands of Allah and we don't know. But there are indications, alamat. There are signs, alamatu qabul al-amal. There are signs that your deed got accepted. And there is no guarantee. There is no dhaman. But there are alamat. And from the greatest of them is that after you finish something, Allah gives you the tawfiq to continue. So you finish Ramadan. How are you on the day of Eid? كيف أنت يوم العيد? How are you on the day of Eid? Is it a day of obedience to Allah? Or is it a day where you left Ramadan and you threw Ramadan behind you? And you forgot what Ramadan was, and you forgot what you learned in Ramadan. And you brought every kind of haram and every kind of mukhalafah. This person, we fear their Ramadan was not accepted. We don't make jazm, we don't know, but we fear that their Ramadan was not accepted. As for the person, how are you on the day of Eid? This person, their day of Eid is a day of ta'ah, a day of obedience to Allah. On that day they came to their prayers, they came to jama'ah, they obeyed Allah, they had ties with their relatives, they didn't fall into the haram. For this person we hope, we don't guarantee, but we hope that that is a good sign that Allah accepted their deeds. وَيَزِيدُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا هُدًى. Allah gives an increase in guidance to those who are guided. Allah will give you the ability to do more good deeds. And Allah will make your changes in Ramadan lasting changes. Don't be someone who is a Ramadan Muslim. Someone who is only here for Ramadan, who only cares in Ramadan, who only worships Allah in Ramadan. Someone who your intention is, I will also continue with what Allah is easy for me. Maybe I will not pray the whole night that I was praying out. Perhaps I will just pray 2 raka'at before Fajr. but at least you try to continue your habits after Ramadan. My dear brothers, Ramadan was a madrasa. It was a training program. And you are about to graduate from that school. You will be given your graduation. That today you have graduated. Today you have passed out from this school. You have learned your lessons. Now go and apply these lessons outside of Ramadan. My dear brothers, the shaitan will be unchained. The nafs will go back to its desires. The evil will increase. The doors of Jahannam will be open. At that time, you need to remember lessons which you learned in Ramadan. From the lessons which are very important, which we learnt in Ramadan, is we learnt the importance of attaching our heart to the Quran. The Quran is not just for Ramadan. The Quran is for every single moment in every day of the year. So attach yourself to the Quran after Ramadan. Maybe it will not be the same amount. It will not be such a big amount. But at least give yourself something from the Quran every day. We learned the importance of the salah. You came to the masjid, you came to the Jumu'ah, you came to the jama'at. The jama'at do not stop after Ramadan. Still the masjid is open. Don't be a stranger to the masjid after Ramadan finished. And my dear brothers, from the lessons that we learnt is beginning with the fard, continuing with the sunnah and the nafilah. And this is what you must do in your life. Look at your fara'id, look at the obligatory action. Look at your salah 5 times a day. Look at your obligatory fasting. And then add to it whatever Allah makes it easy for you to add so that you can be from the muhsineen. My dear brothers, from what we learned in Ramadan, we learned as-sabr. We learned to be patient. We learned to be patient with each other. We learned to be patient with the difficulties that we experienced. We learned to be patient with hunger. We learned to be patient standing with our legs hurting in qiyam. This patience is for the whole year. It is not a patience which is only for Ramadan. So you learn to continue patience in doing good deeds, and patience in keeping away from haram, and patience in the difficulties that Allah decrees for you when you do it. My dear brothers, there remain nights of this month which have the potential to be Laylatul Qadr, including tonight, which is the 27th night, and there is no guarantee that the 27th night is Laylatul Qadr. But it is from the nights which is possible. So tonight, and the next night, and the next night, and if Allah decrees for us one more night, every single one of them, make sure that you continue to come. We have the Taraweeh after Salat al-Isha. We have the Qiyam about 2 hours before Fajr. With all of this, it doesn't stop tonight. We're not going to close the masjid because the 27th night has passed. Rather, every single night of Ramadan until we sight the moon of Eid, we will be here in Qiyam bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. The Taraweeh will be going on. The masjid will be here. The Sahur will be here. People will be filling the masjid for their acts of worship in this month of Ramadan. My dear brothers, don't neglect these nights, especially as Eid comes close. Don't be someone who says, because Eid is near, I will leave the worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla in the masajid. Continue throughout the month of Ramadan until the very last minute. Perhaps it is the last minute in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه يغفر لكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
الذي لا إله إلا
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على عبد الله ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. My dear brothers, after praising Allah, after sending salutations upon the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and upon his family and his companions, and after advising myself and yourself to have taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jalla, then in continuation of what we said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالْخَوَاتِيمِ, what matters is how you finish your action, not how you start it. For my dear brothers, there is one which I think is very, very important. I want to ask everyone to think about it. As I've said to you before, this masjid is a ni'mah from ni'amillahi al-azimah, the vast and great blessings of Allah. And wallahi, we are blessed to have this masjid facilitate for us by Allah's permission and then by the hard work of the volunteers to facilitate for us a place to pray and a place to do our worship. My dear brothers, respect the masjid. Wallahi, too many times, I saw things this Ramadan where people didn't respect the masjid. And I saw it from the men and from the women. I saw, for example, people coming and raising their voices over the Quran, raising their voices over the kalam of Ar-Rahman. When the recitation was going on, talking to each other, wallahi, not talking about the saf, not talking about what rak'ah is it, but talking about their dunya and raising their voices over the Quran. And my dear brothers, this can be a reason for hubut al-amal, for the deeds to be wiped out. So be careful of it. My dear brothers, respect the masjid in terms of the cleanliness. When it comes to the iftar and the suhoor, the brothers tell you, eat on the mat, stay on the mat. Wallahi, we don't tell you for our benefit. Rather, we tell you for the benefit of, so you have a clean carpet, so that the masjid will be in a good way. Hatta we saw from the sisters, wallahi, some of the sisters were not listening at the suhoor time. So for the brothers who are bringing them, the sisters who are watching, let them have taqwa of Allah. Fear Allah with regard to the masjid. Allah Azza wa Jal said, إِنَّمَا يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَأَقَامَ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَى الزَّكَاةَ وَلَمْ يَخْشَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَعَسَىٰ أُولَٰئِكَ أَن يَكُونُوا مِنَ الْمُهْتَدِينَ. The people who worship in the masjid are people who have iman. They are the people who believe in Allah in the last day, the people who do their prayers properly, the people who zakah, the people who only fear Allah. This is the description of the people who fill the masjid with ibadah. Don't be from the people who make fasad in the masjid. And from the fasad we saw, and the ifsad that we saw, is still with regard to the bathrooms. People are throwing in all kinds of things, and they are leaving their brothers to tidy up after them. Wallahi, it's shameful, ikhwani. مما أدرك الناس من كلام النبوة الأولى إذا لم تستحي فاصنع ما شئت. From that which people learned from the earlier prophethood, if you don't have shame, do whatever you want. Ikhwani, respect the bathroom, respect the carpet, respect the masjid, respect the recitation of the Quran. And this masjid, inshallah, will keep getting bigger for you and giving you more and more bi'idhnillahi ta'ala in terms of the salah, in terms of the space and everything. We will make our biggest effort, but we need Allah's help and we need your help after that, to make sure to respect the masjid and to respect the people who work in it. And that means respecting the mu'adhin, the brother who stands at the door, and the people who come and tell you where to sit. Because them are doing this for Allah and then for your benefit. So be from the people in these last few days of Ramadan, take care of the masjid, so that it can be even better in the next Ramadan, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. My dear brothers, there is a very important ruling as it relates to the end of Ramadan. And that ruling at the end of Ramadan is the ruling of Zakatul Fitr. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Abbas, فرض رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم زكاة الفطر طهرة للصائم من اللغو والرفث وطعمة للمساكين فمن أداها قبل الصلاة فهي زكاة مقبولة ومن أداها بعد الصلاة فهي صدقة من الصدقات. The Prophet ﷺ, he made the ruling of Zakatul Fitr obligatory upon every person. Hatta they even say, even your children, even if you have a baby, even if the baby is not born. The person who is responsible for the house, the father who is taking care of the house, he's going to pay Zakatul Fitr on behalf of every man and the women and the children of his house. And Zakatul Fitr, my dear brothers, if you want to measure it out, Zakatul Fitr, if you measure it, is 3 liters of volume of the food which people take as the staple food of the country. So if people like to eat rice mostly, then rice. If people in this country eat, for example, as their main food, they eat, for example, barley or wheat, then that. Whatever the people eat as their main food, which would be the normal food people eat every day, so you put, for example, 3 liters. If you don't want to measure in liters, the ulama, they say that 3 kilos is acceptable. Yani 3 kilograms. 3 kilograms. You can give it in anything you wish. Mostly we give it in rice because this country, many people. You can give it in lentils. You can give it in whatever the people have as their staple food. Even some of the ulama said you can give it in meat even. But if you give it in meat, you have to be careful to keep it, because when you give it to the person, you must be careful that it doesn't go bad. And you must be careful it doesn't make any mess for when you're giving it to the people. So many people, they find it hard. We have a facility in the masjid for them to give £6 per person. My dear brothers, it has to be given. In other words, it has to be purchased before yawmin aw yawmayn, 1 or 2 days. What does that mean? You can give the money anytime. You can give money today, you can give it tomorrow, no problem. But we will purchase the food 1 before the end of Ramadan. 1 day, we will purchase food. After that, there is no guarantee that we will be able to purchase food on your behalf. And if you don't give it before the Eid prayer, it only becomes a sadaqah. It's not accepted as Zakatul Fitr. So for Zakatul Fitr, it has to be given before the Eid prayer. But if you're giving it in money, you need to give it by no later than the 29th night. That is before the 29th day. So if today is 26th, and Saturday is 27th day, and Sunday is 28th day, ideally no later than Sunday night. Otherwise, we will not be able to buy the food to be able to give it to the people. The second thing, my brothers, we know that there are some people in our community who are very, very poor. We have in our community, in this mujtama', there are fuqara and masakeen. If you know someone from the Muslims who is in a very bad situation, have food to eat, please tell one of the volunteers so that we can put aside Zakatul Fitr for them. I know inshallah it will not be many, because alhamdulillah the situation is not too bad for us. But if you know, maybe you have a neighbor or maybe you have a friend who is in desperate need, they don't have proper food for Eid. They don't have food in their house. So tell us about it. We will put aside Zakatul Fitr for them before we send it abroad. Otherwise, we will send most of it to the people abroad. But if we have people, and I know already 1 or 2 in the community that are deserving of it, speak to one of the volunteers so that we can put aside from the Zakatul Fitr for these people. Finally, my dear brothers, I want to talk to you about the arrangements for the day of Eid. We are still waiting for confirmation whether we will be allowed to use the park or not. So we still haven't got that confirmation. So what I want everyone to do, we have, it came, huh? MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar, came during the time of the khutbah. Amazing. So we now have confirmation that we will be able to use the park. My dear brothers, what I want for you to do is I need from you two things only. Two things, okay, with regard to the Eid. Number one, please stay in touch with the masjid. Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever it is, come to the masjid. Because we will be announcing the details in that time. Because even now I have not seen even the timings from the council or anything. So what I want is be in touch with the masjid. Don't say I didn't know what time is it. Go on the Facebook, go on the WhatsApp, the Telegram, any different way to be in touch with the masjid. Because we will be announcing what will be the details. I don't have the details now to announce to you the timing and the situation. The second thing, my dear brothers, and this is the most important. You know that this is a very, very difficult time for Muslims. And the spotlight is on us. People are looking at us. The council is looking. The local police and all of these authorities and the Hukuma Mahalliya, all of these people, they are looking at us. How are we going to behave on the day of Eid? Wallahi, they want from us. يَتَرَبَّصُونَ بِنَا. They want us to fail. They want to see from us something we do which causes embarrassment so they can say, لَا مَسْجِدَ لَكُمْ وَلَا Eid. That's what they want to do. They want to say, we'll close the masjid, we'll stop the Eid Salah. So my dear brothers, please, please give a good impression of yourself on the Eid. We know the mantiqa that we live in. We know what is around us. Please be careful. Don't do something which will cause a bigger mafsada than the thing that you're trying to fix. Keep in mind a good behavior on Eid in every way. Where you park, how you behave, how you are, how you go, how you come. Give a good impression of the masjid. If you do that, there will be no way for them. There will be no udhr for them to say that we will Eid, or we will make a problem for your masjid, or we will take away the license and so on. So please, please, wallahi, it's it's a big thing that in this kind of time we are gathering maybe 500 people, maybe 700 people. How we behave on that day, everybody is watching us. So think very carefully. The way you come, the thing you do, you say, be very, very careful on that day. Because we want to have a perfect record. So that inshaAllah ta'ala we can continue every single year. So I want every single person to be careful how we behave on that day. No arguments, no fighting, no getting into fights with anyone in the community around us. So that we have a very, very good sum'ah for the masjid, a good reputation for the masjid, and we can continue and we can grow inshaAllah ta'ala. Because all of you brothers can see, we reach capacity here, we probably cannot even fit one more person inside. So we want to grow and get bigger, but to do that, we need everybody to be on their best behavior on the day of Eid. That concludes what I wanted to speak to you about. ثم صلوا وسلموا رعاكم الله على محمد بن عبد الله ما أمركم بذلك ربكم فقال قولا كريما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد بارك على إبراهيم على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم اجعلنا جميعا ممن يقوم ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا اللهم اجعلنا ممن يقوم ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا اللهم اجعلنا ممن صام رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا إيمانا واحتسابا اللهم إنا عبيدك بنو إمائك نواصينا بك ماض فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك نسألك بكل اسم هو لك سميت به نفسك أو أنزلته أو علمته أحد من خلقك أو استأثرت به في العلم غير علمك أن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا أحزاننا وذهاب همومنا وغمومنا. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين، اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين برحمتك الراحمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين، اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين، اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في غزة، اللهم نجهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم عليهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك يا قوي يا عظيم. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه وآلائه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقيموا الصلاة.